Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let Loose with Moose. Today I have Pau from Pendle. Hey Pau, how are you doing?
Doing very good. A lot of things happening, and it's quite fun. How about you?
I'm doing great and I'm excited for our chat today to get to know more about yourself.
Awesome. Let's get to it.
Alright, so without further ado, could we get a quick introduction about yourself and of course your crypto origin story?
Gotcha. Yeah. As you mentioned, I'm Pau, or you could call me Rightside. That's my pen name on Twitter. I'm part of the growth team of Pendle, handling external relations and doing things to scale Pendle off chain. So I started my crypto journey 2017, learning about the space where one of my mentors actually provided me information to start a wallet. We did a bunch of conversations here and there, sharing that my mentor said that cryptocurrency would be something big in the future, which I didn't believe back then, but wanted to try it out, I guess. So he gave me like point 0.1 ETH, saw it appreciating in value to that year, and got me interested. So that was pretty cool. For the whole 2017, I started diving deep into the rabbit hole of crypto, blockchain, and actually trying out investing in startups, ICOs, and whatnot. I think those were the big things that happened, especially for the ICO boom. I didn't know how investing works back then. It's pretty much a lot of degeneracy happening and the fear of missing out towards new projects that came in. Joined in with ICOs that didn't make sense at all, like Dentacoin, coin for dentist, banana coin for bananas, rocket coin, and those things that you don't see this year. So those are some of the experiences and learnings that I have in terms of going into the crypto journey. It was a lot of ups and downs, and it was still really fun though. So 2017, I built my interest and grew my cryptocurrency portfolio, investing in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other tokens in the space. I held it 2018, where the whole bear market came in, where all of the assets went down like 80% or so.
Mm-hmm.
Was one of like the hardest moments in my life starting as an investor. So that was a quite a tear in my experience, but it was also a learning curve for me to understand that the crypto market was very volatile and there was a lot of things that I could have done, but in a way gain me more insights to how the currency landscape goes around. So 2018 it died, right? 2019 I started learning about trading. So trading came into me because most of the people that I met during that time were investing, buying and selling crypto, and I wanted to learn how that works. I dove around, checked around the space, which are the right information to use, and I stumbled upon the YouTube channel of Crypto Cred, where he was providing value for technical analysis.
Mm-hmm.
That became my whole Bible for the 2019 year, understanding how price action works, demand, supply zone, support resistance, and whatnot. So that's pretty much how I tried to build my game in investing in crypto. However, it wasn't really in my nature to become a trader. It was just something that for me to realize or hopefully gain or increase my portfolio. 2020 came. That was the rise of the DeFi season, and it was crazy. I joined in new projects like Yam, other food coins. Yearn was very hot as well,
Mm-hmm.
and those crazy APYs got me going and got me with a new set of energy to understand how decentralized applications came to be with DeFi. So that was my next level degeneracy moment. A lot of emissions from these projects in terms of tokens. The returns, some of them were good, some of them were not, and it was very, I would say, not a like fulfilling moment for my portfolio as well. It's pretty much break even, but that's how I came to realize that cryptocurrency and blockchain in general gives a opportunity for finance to come in and build something that is open and global. globally accessed for everyone. So that's one of the interesting moments for 2020. Moving to end of the 2020, like quarter four, I was getting interested on how the macro market works in crypto. So funny thing, I sold my car and just
Wow.
pumped all of it into Ethereum. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. That was my other degeneracy moment, which I think that was the best decision that I had for my investment journey. Because the start of 2020 was really like pump season. Most of the altcoins were doing pretty well. And I actually had uh, cash to actually try out different protocols. So I enjoyed DeFi a lot, and I saw Binance Smart Chain booming with new protocols. Learned about algorithm stablecoins. One example in Binance Smart Chain was B Dollar, and they were emitting a bunch of stablecoins where I gained a lot of profit on that protocol, but it died because they were. It was really a Ponzi. So that was a fun Ponzi. Then from there, I decided, hey, I'm enjoying crypto. Why not go full time? I did a bunch of research, did a lot of content regarding blockchains like Cosmos, Avalanche, and those chains that were starting to grow and starting to launch during that year, and was able to get a position for a VC. This VC invests in startup projects, mostly on GameFi NFT. It was pretty fun then, but it wasn't really in my taste of the verticals in crypto. I was still DeFi by heart. So I decided to leave the VC by 2021, joined Pendle by August 2022, then continued my journey ever since.
Wow, nice. I did not know you were in a VC before going into crypto. That's
Yeah,
interesting to know.
yeah, it was a fun thing because the whole VC space during 2021 is a lot of pump and dumps with vesting periods that was insane. Token generation events with no cliffs, just generating 60% of the whole circulating supply and whatnot. So that was like crazy moments.
Nice, nice. All right, and then now you're in Pendle doing like growth, right? So
Yeah.
how did you get into Pendle, by the way? Like, did you approach them or did they approach you? And how's life at Pendle?
Yeah, funny thing. I actually am a user of Pendle when their V1 launched, learning about how the yield mechanisms work. The reason why I tried Pendle during that time is because the mentor that I mentioned during 2017 actually is helping out and building Pendle 2021. We were discovering the opportunities of yield tokenization and yield trading. It wasn't really something for me. It was a complex protocol for sure during the V1 stage where the mechanics was fragmented, where YT is being traded in the Pendle application, but the principal token or OT back then was traded in the underlying protocol. So the user experience was really fragmented. So I heard about Pendle building their V2 2022 through my mentor. My mentor is now the BD for ecosystem growth in Pendle and mentioned that they want to scale the team in growing for marketing, growth, and whatnot. Met the team in Singapore when I went around, shared ideas on future plans, what they want to do, and how can I actually provide value. Before I joined them, I was actually providing value on growth for the VC, incubating them on marketing strategies and whatnot. So I shared this experience to them. They kind of got interested on what I do. So I flipped over, joined Pendle, and yeah, went with that route. So far, doing so good. In terms of I guess, the environment and working in Pendle, I honestly believe I'm the dumbest person in the team. It's, it's just a lot of people who are very smart. I learned so much from them in a span of months compared to my years in the VC. I think having them as part of the team and being with them as a team member helped me grow exponentially as well in the space and allowed me to actually understand what the whole DeFi space is about, because these people are very diligent and smart, where I want to keep up. So I think it's a mutual environment where we both want to, or the team and me, want to achieve so much, but also pushing ourselves further to what we know or what we have.
Right, right, got it. That's really interesting to hear. So you mentioned like you were firstly in like the really OG coins, right, when you first started, and then you moved on to being a trader, and then now being into DeFi. So like what kind of investor are you, right side?
I'm more of a long term investor now, just because I'm more inclined to understand how the market works in the macro level and seeing the innovations in the space. My trading experience or my trading journey, I think, has already sunset uh, in terms of like understanding price action and whatnot. I still do that regularly, but not as consistent as before. It's just for me to get informed on how the market is thinking on a weekly basis, and then seeing what are the opportunities we can actually invest on or actually put ourselves in for the long term.
Right, got it. So since you mentioned you're more like long term and you're like in DeFi now, right? I'm sure you use Pendle quite actively, right? Are you able to share like what are some other interesting strategies that you're using at the moment?
Yeah. For DeFi strategies, it's quite just really Pendle at the moment, because I'm also, as a user, learning about other opportunities in Pendle. But in terms of other protocols, before, I guess, Pendle, right? I used Beefy a lot. Beefy as like
Mm-hmm,
a yield
mm-hmm.
aggregator, doing a lot of yield farming towards either stable coins or native tokens and whatnot. I'm also doing strategies for actually airdrop farming, so which is a pretty interesting narrative that's coming for this year.
Yep.
Other protocols, it's really just providing liquidity, I guess, from perps like GMX, HL, or also HMX, or also providing liquidity towards the new dexes. Merchant Mo is a dex that I'm bullish on, given the success of Trader Joe. So I'm also doing those kinds of stuff.
Nice, nice. I mean, so are you secretly the one topping all the Pendle leaderboards? Being an employee and a trader at the same time.
No, bro. I try yield trading. I just can't reach top 10. But it's a fun experience. I think even though I know how the yield mechanics work and the protocol on how it works, and also some of like the pools, it's something that you have to actually understand personally. Yield trading could be complex, but if you have the grasp for it, I feel it's actually less risky compared to doing perps.
Yeah, all right, got it. Since you also mentioned being a long-term trader, right? Then I think it's nice if we could get to hear like what is your investing strategy or like your framework around picking which tokens to put into your long-term portfolio. Are you able to share a bit on that?
Yeah, for sure. I guess my investment strategy at this year or this cycle is way different towards last cycle. Last cycle, it's pretty much investing on the tokens or projects that have been gaining attention in the space. So if I hear Project X talking about by this team or this group, I just ape in and buy the token, and hopefully it pumps, right? Those are like some of the degeneracy investment things that happened in my journey last cycle. But this cycle is more on understanding why, how it works, and does it have like product market fit. Example would be, well, I would put an example as Pendle, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
despite me being in the team, I'm also invested personally because of the capabilities as a new product or a new primitive in the DeFi space. That's definitely one. Second would be, it's the sustainability, or like how the product will fit itself in the market. So those are two important things that I'm looking at when I invest in new projects. I think last cycle, pretty much just looking at market cap, circulating supply, emission of tokens. But now I'm more on understanding if it makes sense. I think that's one advantage and also a disadvantage to where I'm not able to secure a good position towards like short-term opportunities, right? Like meme tokens. Definitely that's a Web3 culture opportunity for users, but I just don't have the knack for it. I missed out on Whiff. I missed out on Pepe. So it's those kinds of opportunities that I'm actually losing. So I have to be a bit more left curve to get into that. So, and it's quite a skill, I would say. I feel like those people who are able to get in Pepe or with very early have that Web3 skill that not a lot of people have.
I don't know, man. I like to think they just got lucky and just ate, I don't know, tens and 20 of tokens in the 10K market cap range.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, that's what I think. Like, that's what I would do. Aping into all the micro cap and then hoping one of them does a pay run, for example. But yeah, you mentioned a few things there, right? Talking about how you're not a shitcoiner now, right? You talk about how you try to understand the why and what they do and if it makes sense, or what they're trying to do, right, before buying to the token. So I think that would mean all of the more I'll quote like legit projects in DeFi, right? Instead of
Yep.
your meme tokens that you mentioned. I think it's fine where we're missing some meme coins if you are not a shitcoiner, right? Even within like the so-called legit projects in DeFi or certain narratives, there are still a lot of runners, right? If you can catch them. Speaking of which, then what are some of the, I don't know, categories or narratives that you're more bullish on for this year?
Narratives. I think I go around how, or I guess I'm different in terms of identifying narratives compared to what we see in crypto Twitter. Because there are narratives like decentralized physical infrastructure, there's narratives for AI, there's also LRT. But I tend to mix out the narratives towards my own investment thesis, where I think the investment thesis that I have for this cycle would be, would the masses adopt this certain narrative? So, for example, right, for the NFT space, I do believe that Pudgy Penguins will take the momentum for NFTs because they have great marketing and product efforts and actually position a good narrative and messaging towards their brand and product. Web3 culture wise, you see all of those pudgy memes. You see this GIFs. You see all of those easy graphics that could actually be plugged anywhere and throughout, where it's actually gaining so much attention. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but the G3 for Web3 and for NFTs, number one is Pudgy Penguins.
Oh yeah, they have a
Second,
really vast selection of GIFs for Pudgies, yeah.
yeah, that actually brings a lot of interest for newcomers because the newcomers won't really think about how an NFT works, right? Like ERC 721, they won't even think about it. They would think about which one is actually taking the hype. Secondly, for Pudgy Penguins, it's the physical assets that they have. They formulated a brand to where they can sell their product across different toy stores and stuff that actually gains more attention. Hence, like these guys are building towards adoption, which we all want to have. For this one, right? I think this is the way or the approach that other builders or project developers should take into account for this cycle. Because adoption is definitely something we want to have. But if you want to have adoption, the newcomers would seek the attention to where Web 2 has taken effect towards Web 3. So for DeFi, I feel if you're able to position towards those kinds of messaging, then that one makes sense.
Mm,
I
on
hope
that
I
end,
got the answer right. I the question right.
no, no worries. I mean, on that end, right, about DeFi side, since you mentioned the point earlier, um, is there any protocol you think right now that is able to do that, or how do you envision that to be?
Yeah, I think for this one, it's going to be on the RWA side of things. Because one of the success stories for last year was Treasury bills. and actually getting the yield from treasury bills and building off-chain liquidity to on-chain. MakerDAO did a very successful product innovation towards that front, and just that testament or just that success story itself, I feel MakerDAO would be a good project to actually focus on, especially those who have started taking note of how the success story of MakerDAO goes. So projects building for RWA, establishing themselves for RWA, long term wise would be a good um, opportunity to actually invest on. Other things would be the sense of AI. Think AI during 2022 or 2023 was more of like vaporware and just building hype. The same way as how the word
Mhm.
metaverse was actually taking
Mhm.
attention in
Yep.
last cycle. But now we're actually seeing projects that are actually building on AI. One example would be Mosaic Finance, where they're building AI and yield strategies together, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because they're able to find the great opportunities in yield farming, yield strategy through AI. Makes it a lot faster for them, and would be more, I guess, would be more juicy for users to actually try it out.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And I mean, since you mentioned the AI being vaporware, like how metaverse was last cycle, actually, I'm curious on your thoughts on uh how should I put this? I'm curious on how you think like will RWAs not be a so-called vaporware thing, where I think there's a lot of great ideas, right? But do you think it's executable or in real life?
Yeah, it's both an advantage and disadvantage. I guess for RWA, at certain points would be useful. So T bills is definitely one. I think it makes sense to build on top of treasury bills, tokenize it, and get the yield, passive yield, towards your own protocol, right? A lot of protocols have been building that. Aside from MakerDAO, there's Ondo, there's like high yield from Avalanche. Also, the Avalanche ecosystem is building towards that. I think other types of RWA doesn't make sense at the moment, just because of the risks involved. I think there's an opportunity for real estate in the future, just not right now,
Mm-hmm.
because there was some projects that are actually building a stable coin with collateral from real estate. The problem is real estate is illiquid, right? It takes a while to actually get back the position for the stablecoin to maintain peg. And I think one of the projects who are building that uh, didn't really work out. So real estate could be, but there's just too much moving parts there. So I don't think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For now, it's more on like the fungible side of things, like treasury bills and whatnot.
Got it, got it. Yeah, in fact, I was looking up on Goldfinch since you were mentioning like protocols who are doing RWAs and all. Yeah, start lending your USDC to real businesses worldwide. That's literally their slogan on their homepage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think Goldfish has been there for a while.
yep.
I remember them in 2021, so it's nice to see that they're still there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moving parts like you mentioned, and I'm afraid it's not as easy to coordinate or execute compared to where things are on chain, where everyone's on chain and we're all able to see it and being transparent compared to RWAs. I think that's one of my concerns here. Definitely I know there's a lot of RWA bulls like yourself as well. But yeah, I'm happy to see how this space grows over time, like you mentioned. Not much that's really interesting at the moment to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's quite a few narratives that's actually booming, but it's not something that I would really dive on. I guess for the degeneracy part of things, right? I do have two sides of the coin in my investment uh, strategies. One is understand how the protocol works, fundamentals, product market fit. Second would be if it's something interesting, ape in, degen in, then think about it later. So though I think that side of the coin works well with Web3 culture because Web3 culture is way different than Web2, right? Web3 is very fast paced, and there's a lot of things that could happen in a week. Like for last week, right? There was the ETFs. There was the uh, announcement. Oh, there's also BlackRock that's actually pushing for ETF and actually being bullish on the media. But on the other side of the things, there's also a few protocols that are actually in the verge of getting hacked last time. So so those kinds of things, right? If you're not fast enough as an investor, then the opportunities would just slip away. So there's definitely a balance between both understanding the fundamentals and understanding when to actually just degen in and hope for the best.
Yeah, when you mentioned hacks, it was quite funny because I remember the Wise was being hacked, and then at first it was thought that Pendle was hacked, and I remember jumping out of bed at like 3 a.m. in the morning because I saw the message and I'm like, shit, man, this is horrible. And like trying to find out what's happening. Can't have Pendle being hacked.
Yeah, I saw that also myself during that time. Good thing that you messaged me because I had that ping before I was about to sleep during that time. I had that ping and it just woke me up. Like
Yeah,
I
man.
had to call everybody. I mean, asking the team on how's it doing. But good thing it wasn't really affecting us in a way. It was just like positioning, I guess.
Yeah, I was relieved to hear that everything is safe and I could go to sleep. When you mentioned they were saying there's two sides to investing, right? I initially thought that one side was the understanding the why and how it works, and the other side is considering a downside risk. But then you just went in and say the other side is aping without without doing the research first. Ape first, do later. I think it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that okay, so it's not really financial advice, right? But risk is definitely important. But given the culture that we have, and I think how I grew into the space, risk would be the last step for me. I mean, you have wallets that could do long-term investment, right? And you have another wallet for aping in and degening in. So I use the wallet to just, go in and hope for the best. Because if you don't have the appetite, then you're missing to a lot. So
Yeah, I mean, especially when this space moves so quickly, and sometimes being late by 5 or 10 minutes would cost you quite a bit. Talking about like entry prices, right? Like if you're late for 10 minutes, maybe the thing has gone up like 50%, and you're buying in 50% higher than everyone else, and that sometimes causes FOMO, and that's why people sometimes do the ape first and think later kind of thing, right?
yeah, for sure. It's really a game of musical chairs in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of risk, right? Like, I mean, we could be aping in and think the thing rubs in 5 minutes later. That's definitely there for sure. But yeah, I mean, you just have to figure out what's your risk appetite and how much in position sizing is important as well. Any other categories you want to talk about that you think are interesting categories or narratives?
Yeah. Infrastructure wise, I don't have like the huge knowledge for modular blockchains, right? But Celestia is doing a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the reason I mentioned Celestia is just because I'm following what other prominent KOLs are talking about in Celestia. So I joined in the airdrop farming strategies that they're doing. I think one thing that I could share is that following the right people would actually help you a lot than just seeing every type of news out there. I think crypto Twitter is the alpha space, but you need to understand which of the people are actually providing value than the people who are just there to provide you the pump and dump. So, one of the examples is that I'm very fond of Taiki. Taiki, I feel, is like one of the best DeFi content creators out there that
Mm-hmm.
provide immense value. I learned MakerDAO from him, I learned Canto from him, and I learned Celestia from him. So this type of people should definitely have an avenue or should be the people that people look forward to and see in the crypto Twitter stage. So it's just kind of weird that there are some people that have immense following, but you could tell that they're just really there for you to be exit liquidity. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah. Another thing that I would share is that just follow the right people and then understand why. Like Taiki did a good investment thesis with WIF from Solana, and that's a meme token.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of the fundamentals out there, but it did pretty well. Those kind of things.
So did you buy into Wave after watching that video?
I faded it. Honestly. It's like one of the regrets. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I didn't know, man. I think I missed out that one. It's interesting. I've never seen anyone like do a proper video on meme tokens. That'll be interesting to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, Taiki is like the person that would provide like supporting insights and whatnot on why this project or this chain makes a lot of sense. But he just said, "Oh, with token, it's a dog with a hat. It's pretty cool. Let's go." And it did pretty well. That was crazy.
Yeah, I remember Taiki from like I think 2020 where DeFi summer, right? Where there's a lot of very good use everywhere, and he covered a lot of great videos on his farms. So definitely agree with you on that one. Before I move on to the next topic, is there anything else you want to add here?
Sure. I guess one last thing is that innovation is still growing. I mean, people think that, well, in my circle, right? People think that Ethereum's current stage is the final form. But definitely, there's still a lot of innovations that could happen, especially that user experience is still not fundamentally available or like still not fundamentally the best where your grandma could actually use crypto.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the projects that I'm looking forward is account abstraction. Account abstraction is definitely the bullish thesis that I have, like smart contract wallets with a social security where you don't have to understand a seed phrase. I mean, it stores for you non-custodially, but can actually give you the login with a social avenue like Gmail or other email platforms out there. So that's one thing. There's also other innovations like intense infrastructure or hooks. I won't dive into that, but looking forward to those kinds of projects that are actually building on top of those.
Yeah, great mention there. I mean, imagine. I mean, I'm not sure if there's any protocol that's doing account abstraction plus intents or like hooks, right? I think that'd be pretty good for the new user.
Yeah, definitely. Account abstraction, especially for gaming, would make a whole lot of sense. Like roll up batch transactions so that when people play the game, they don't have to keep clicking and approving transactions here and there. And also universal gas payments through USDC rather than either like the native token or whatnot. I feel like that's the way to go.
Yeah, or being gasless transactions. I think that'd be great,
Oh yeah, exactly.
right? Like there are some perps that are offering gasless transactions, so that you can click and open your trade and close your trade without having to pay gas, compared to the older perps where every time you click something it lags for a bit, then you click on approve and then pay the gas and get your thing out. So I think that's a big step forward as well. But
Yeah.
pretty great points you mentioned. I totally agree with all of them. Next, I want to hear about your take on the markets for let's say the next 6 months in 2024, or even the whole year, in fact, right? Since we've had the Bitcoin ETF last week, like you mentioned earlier, pretty had a few pretty good, I would say, news in the past week or so. Well, what are your thoughts on the markets for the year?
Yeah, for sure. For this year, I feel like the whole bearish price action that happened last year and 2022 is over. I feel like this is the time where we actually should be looking more into the opportunities that cryptocurrency have. Last year was, in my opinion, accumulation towards blue chip assets or maybe potential projects that you might have. And we're now moving towards newcomers and people who are taking time to actually understand crypto. For the next 6 months, there's a lot of bullish catalyst and bearish, I would say. We have the Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin ETF was just approved. We might have ETH ETF, and also interest rates are not as crazy as 2022, right? So I can't really find a thesis or like a narrative to where we should be bullish for this year. I feel there's gonna be dumps for sure because when the market overheats, it has to retrace and be a healthy market once more. But those dips and dumps are opportunities to actually accumulate. In terms of the market cycle, it kind of feels like it's a cycle where people are in disbelief where the market is doing pretty okay, but still expecting lower prices. So that's the thing that I have in terms of diversifying. Blue chip assets in the crypto space still makes a lot of sense. I actually dominate my portfolio in Ethereum still. As long as my portfolio is outperforming Ethereum, then I'm doing pretty okay. But there's going to be a time where everything is just going to go crazy, and you can you can bet that you have to rotate as quick as possible. I think the rotation from one project to the other is where the bull market really happens. Yeah, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon this year. There's going to be a lot of dips right through. It's going to be a slow year for this year. And then maybe we can just have an insane valuation of the whole crypto market by maybe end of this year. Well, don't take me as like a future oracle or whatnot, or like any financial advice. It's just like what I see at the moment. But yeah, I think there's going to be booming projects, or could be another DeFi summer, just because of like what I mentioned with RWA and whatnot, people taking opportunities to actually grab off chain liquidity to on chain. Those kinds of things, I think, would have immense value for this year. But yeah, I'm not selling.
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned to have another DeFi summer, I think that would be great. I would love to have that. But what do you mean by rotating quickly, like you mentioned earlier?
Yeah. When the market goes crazy, right? It goes wild. So there's going to be opportunities jumping from one new project to another new project. I think this goes for degen level kind of investment. There's always going to be a shiny gem, like how we see in last cycle, but it won't be immense as where this project would go 100x and then move towards another 100x. It won't be that anymore because the market has already reached a valuation of $1 trillion already. But there's still going to be avenues to where you can rotate from one project to the other. I think there's going to be beta plays out there. For example, the ETH beta, right? There's a lot of Ethereum based projects that is actually a lot more juicy and interesting than Ethereum itself. There's also, I feel there could be beta strategies for maybe borrowing and lending protocols in that ecosystem, or maybe even the yield space, right? There's going to be beta projects that would be more interesting for people to invest on. But the thing is, the projects would still be king, I guess. So rotation wise, it's going to be a lot quick, especially in the bull market.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree there. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And you know, we've been
Yeah.
chatting for quite a bit, right? About the markets and what trends and narratives you're looking at. I want to get to know a little bit about you, about Right Side, right? So, could you share with us a day in the life of Right Side?
Oh, my day in the life, I quit my 9 to 5 to join 24/7. So it's pretty cool. I really like this space. The reason, maybe I can give you a fun fact. People have been asking me why I chose right side. Uh, the
Yeah,
story
sure.
is, there's actually no story behind why I chose right side. It just so happens that I wanted to make an anon account and create content in Twitter. I was thinking what kind of name would be easy to memorize, right, or to understand. I found my pen in the right side of my keyboard. So, right side of my key, right side. Okay, let's go with right side. And that's how the whole thing started. So there's no crazy story whatsoever. It's just like it just so happens to be there. In
Uh,
for
uh,
Yeah.
and because it was a pen, and that's why you joined Pendle.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh no, that could be a good story though. Yeah. Yeah, I joined Pendle because I saw the pen. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it just so happens to be that way. But my daily life as right side or being in the crypto Twitter space, I was very, I would say, just staying in my desk and working on a lot of things. However, it isn't really that healthy doing this consistently. So I'm now moving towards, staying fit, going to the gym and whatnot, which I think
Nice.
a lot of people should actually do, because the market will stay there 24/7, but your health can can change in a moment if you're not maintaining it or keeping it healthy. Some of the friends that we have, I think you know him as well, had suffered into a lot of things like I won't mention, but he was in an emergency and he had to rest. He had to do a lot of surgery
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't really maintaining his physical health and he was just really in crypto. So I think that was a wake up call for me to actually maintain both physical health, mental health, because I think health is very important.
Yeah, agree. I mean, totally agree that do you want to run us through like the schedule on a daily basis? Like, I don't know, you wake up, go to the gym, do some work, or how does your day look like?
Usually the first thing that I do once I wake up is to check my D bank. But yeah, I mean, market's doing pretty good, so it's nice to see like my D bank portfolio doing okay as well. I take my morning coffee and read on what's the latest for crypto, either in newsletters. I enjoy newsletters a lot, crypto Twitter, and after a few minutes or so, go back to my to dos. What is the thing that needs to be done for the day? Start with those. I take my afternoon for a quick gym session, I guess, like 1 to 2 hours. Get back, refresh, then do more crypto activities or like things that I need to do for work until uh, like midnight, I guess. I'm pretty much seated in my office, so I think it's not healthy, but I should really and I should also put balance in. But that's yeah, that's what I currently have.
Nice, awesome, great to hear. And it's nice to hear that you are starting to add in the more gym sessions in your daily routine. That's really good.
Yeah. I don't do this like Monday to Sunday though. Like Saturday, Sunday is definitely a place for rest. I still do
Mm-hmm.
crypto time and time, but I also do leisure activities by the weekend. So
Such
I'm
as?
uh hmm. Okay. Just for you, I'll be doxing a bit of myself.
Nice.
uh so I'm an artistic guy outside of crypto Twitter or like for crypto. I used to do dancing a lot. So I enjoy dance. So I do
Ooh,
that during the weekends. I was a choreographer before, and another thing is I enjoy the beach. I like surfing. I'm not good at it, but I enjoy staying on top of a wave and seeing the landscape of the whole seaside and whatnot. So yeah, other things if there's an opportunity to be active, mountain climbing, uh, paintball, or just going around to different countries. I guess yeah, those are the things that I enjoy outside of Twitter or crypto.
nice, nice. Pretty active life, man. Active weekend, I would say.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
I have to balance that out now.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah, for
lot
sure.
less than I had before.
Yeah, crypto takes away many things from life, from our lives.
Yeah, but it feels
Yeah,
good to just stay in the market.
yeah, for sure. I want to ask, is
Mhm.
there any little alpha you want to share on Pendle that you could drop here and there?
Okay, Pendle V3. That's one of the most exciting things that I'm personally looking forward to for this year. Other things, I think Pendle is doing good in terms of positioning towards narratives. And there are quite a few more things in our sleeve that we are going to do to actually, yeah, I can't say much, but I think my alpha there would definitely be Pendle VT because it's going to open doors for opportunities for yield. I can't really say if it's bullish for price action, right? But product wise, I think it's a pretty good update or launch for Pendle.
Yeah, I mean, who cares about price, right? We only care about the tech. Yeah, tech good. That's all that matters.
Tech good. Let's
All
go.
right, right, all right. We're gonna close this off soon, right? Could you share with us your greatest takeaway from being in crypto?
Greatest takeaway would definitely be meeting people from the Web3 space. There's just so much value that is actually accrued within the whole crypto and Web3 ecosystem that one of the things that I enjoy is that age doesn't matter. You could be 15-year-old, you could be 51 or 60 years old, and still providing immense value in the space. Admins out there are actually insanely brainy compared to the people who are, doxed or whatnot. I think it's also the friendship that was built. Wow, it's kind of cheesy, but when I was going around with different crypto events, it's the space is actually a lot helpful to newcomers and people who are within the same vertical or ecosystem. A lot of people are actually open to share compared to Web 2. And they all have the same ethos to where they want to bring crypto and blockchain towards the next level, which is adoption. For those who are coming in, definitely Web3 is the open space for you. Whether you're a builder, a researcher, someone who's just interested, community member, whatnot, there's always an opportunity in Web3 or in crypto. So that's my greatest takeaway.
And that's really nice. I think it's really well said, man. And what about like a piece of advice for your younger self?
Just go take the leap immediately. I think I was very sketchy and skeptical towards crypto in my early
Mm-hmm.
days. I actually knew about Bitcoin 2013, coming from my mentor,
Wow.
and he mentioned about Bitcoin's opportunity and value towards decentralization and peer-to-peer transactions. I said, nah, that's a scam coin that's actually used for drugs and all. But if I only had the opportunity to actually read more about it, um, I think I would be in a good position. But I guess it's all learnings, right? So that the advice that I could give when I was young, just take the leap, legion in, and understand more. Don't close your mind towards what you believe is right. There's always another. So there's always the bad and good things. It's good to understand why both of them are there.
Nice, nice. I mean, I think it's a fair point where at that point there wasn't much besides being used for shady stuff, for transactions, right? But definitely the space has grown a lot now, and I think in hindsight, many of us would wish we have joined earlier in the space as well, like myself included.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
Right.
actually one not really a regret, but what ifs.
Yeah, yeah, totally. All right then, to close off this episode, right? Could you hit me with three names that you think would be great guests on the podcast?
Oh man, I have a lot though, but for my top three, okay, there's two people that I actually tickle their brains, and they're quite brainy a lot. I mean a lot brainy. Two Lambros is definitely the person that you wanna know more and understand what his investment strategies are and some of like his insights for DeFi. Exact Two Lambros is actually my go-to when I wanna ask about what's happening in the DeFi space. Secondly, I think you've heard of Crypto Tracy, the CMO of Entangled.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very good in terms of Web3 growth and marketing. We actually share a lot of ideas, and he helps me out to understand or level me down towards what makes sense for doing growth strategies in DeFi. And lastly is this unsung hero. I feel like he needs to be more in the space. He has to have a bigger audience than what he currently has. I actually look forward to all of his content. His name is OX7D54. Actually a very early investor of Pendle. But now he's actually providing immense value towards what projects makes a lot of sense fundamentally and whatnot. So yeah, those three.
Right, interesting. I mean, definitely heard of Tulembro and Tracy. Might need your help with the last one, right? But definitely we'll check his profile out as well. And thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime for you, bro.
All right. Before we go off, is there any other things you want to add?
Uh, Follow Crypto Moose.
Thank you. Uh, I mean, definitely check out Right Side right on his Twitter and of course Pendle if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for taking the time, Right Side, for coming on to this episode. Have a chit chat here, and thank you to the listeners for tuning to this episode. I think that is all we have today, and we will see you in the next episode.
Right. Cheers. Appreciate it, Moose.
That brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Before you go, do remember to give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Comment down below what you liked about this episode, who you like me to interview next, or any topics that you want to learn more about. Until next time, this is Moose moving out.